So
Hello,
good.
everyone. Oh my God, the technical problems today. I don't know whether it's Skype. I don't know whether it's whatever it is. Webcams are wigging out. We're having problems getting TB in here. Mega and Bones sadly can't make it this evening because they're saving the world. They're strapping on their spandex, tying on their capes, and oh look,
Yeah.
I'm down there. I've just gone into the corner, so I'm gonna have to move the logo, I think.
Oh boy. Oh man, that's too much of me. Too much.
There we go. I'll go down there. Look.
Minimize it. It's too much fallout.
Yeah. I
It's
can't
too
do
much.
it. I can do this. I can make me that big. That's it, man. So it's like it's the Fallout show.
What the hell?
I know, man.
Nobody
That's
wants
Skype.
to see this.
That's Skype for you. I can. Oh, there we go. Look. How about this?
There we go. Better. Okay, let's see. Hold on.
There we go. Can you see this?
Man, I need a haircut. I just got a haircut too. It's too long. Hold on. It hasn't updated yet. Oh, perfect. With your face in front of mine, I love it. It's beautiful.
It's the mini me in front of your face.
I love it.
There you go.
Okay, welcome to Planet Destiny Podcast, episode 133. Yeah, is that right?
Yes, it is indeed. Yeah.
Okay, terrific. Or okay, 133. We're gonna go with that number for now. And it's a special podcast tonight because D2 is literally so close to coming out, and we promise that tonight will be a spoiler-free podcast. Thanks for joining us. Spoiler-free, baby. Because we want, you want to experience the game like fresh when it comes out. What's the point of coming in here and having us spoil everything when it's like a day and a half away or 2 days or whatever? Yeah, no.
It's very odd that these things were out before the cat in the bag. So yeah, I mean, I've purposefully avoided them, whether that's bad or not. I don't
Me
care.
too. Yeah.
So because we're so close to it. So yeah, we're not going to talk about that stuff.
I've been a bad content creator, but a good gamer, because I could go out and prepare myself to make all these YouTube videos about all the hidden data mined information or whatever and get ahead of the curve, but I don't want to do that. I'm like, because the gamer inside of me is like, don't do it.
Yeah.
You're going to ruin it for yourself. Go in fresh. So fresh, clean, smooth, no spoilers. I want to experience it with that lady right there. Right there. Can't see her off camera.
Yeah, exactly. And we've had like a little timeline for the what you call it. So we've got Raid release date, we've got Trials release date. That's enough to know that we've got Trials and the Raid happening within the first 2 weeks of the launch of Destiny 2.
That was really shocking to me, by the way. Yeah. Really shocking. I think a lot of the community was surprised. It was like, oh yeah, by the way, the Raid is coming out on, what is it, Wednesday the 13th? Mm-hmm. Is that right? Wednesday the 13th?
Yep, 13th, and then Trials is on the 15th. That's
so soon. Way sooner than I was anticipating. Like, big time.
Yeah. Yeah, Mega's in the chat. 2-man cast, yeah, exactly. Where are you?
2-man show, baby.
The world? Jesus.
He's off saving. Yeah, it's supposed to be a 3-man show, but Link's computer exploded. I don't know. It was too excited for D2. Computer blew up once it learned that we were within a 48-hour window or something close to that. Just blew up.
It's like, because there's only 2 of us, that every time that I'm trying to add link to the Skype call, which makes the layout a little bit better.
Oh my gosh.
But when it drops out, it becomes the Fallout show. Like, Skype will make Fallout's face as if it was a private
dream come
chat.
true.
Yeah.
Everything except for my face being really large and visible. my dream come true.
You'd have to sit really far back in your living room.
I'd have to go way back. With
the microphone. That's how we make it smaller.
Yeah. But anyway, now that it's just you and me right now, I can drop all the hot takes I want without Bones rolling his eyes and without Mega making some dumb joke.
Yeah.
I can say whatever I want. And I think that, I mean, you probably heard this a bunch from other content creators in the community, but I think that Trials is just, I think it's a little possibly too soon. It's like you have the Raid and Trials back to back.
Yeah, I think they like blow the load a little bit there, but then here's my, like, the way that I've been thinking about this, and I'm just going to constantly try and add TB back to the call, so apologies for all the mess on the screen, guys, but it's going to have to happen because we need him in here. But yeah, like if Trials and the raid have been added so quickly, I mean, the raid's not added quickly. We've always had raids like that fastly introduced to the mix, but Trials coming in that quick. I mean, Trials is an integral counterpart of Destiny, and I think Bungie really didn't want to have that missing, or introduced in a DLC later on. Even though they could have got away with it, couldn't they? Really, if it was like the first DLC in December.
Sure.
But Trials is such a popular thing, so maybe, just maybe, if these things are being introduced so quickly, there is going to be more activities for us to sink our teeth into. So Trials and the raid aren't going to be the only end game. Maybe there's going to be another segment that's going to be added later on that might be just as popular as Trials, perhaps. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's wishful thinking.
End game patrol, right? Some of that end game patrol that we're looking forward to. Yeah, you know, that's a good point, Story. Didn't think about that, because I was sitting over here thinking like, oh my god, man, it's like they're giving us everything right off the bat in like a 2-week window. They're just giving us everything. And but no, that's a good point. There could be more end game material. And I was talking to my girlfriend about it today. Yeah. And she was like, well, I mean, they probably don't want everyone, because we're so hyped for this game. She was like, maybe they just don't want everyone to completely burn through everything immediately, and then be like, well, done with this game, let's move on to whatever's next.
Well, that's the thing, like, both when The Taken King and Rise of Iron came out, because there was so much content, especially with Taken King, there was so much content, there was no negative feedback on lack of content, you know, and that went on for several months. So that could be the other strategy as well, is release everything at the beginning. So there is like the period of negative feedback is further away after launch, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. That's reaching, I think, possibly.
Maybe a little. But hey, you know what? I'm gonna make a special shout out right here on the show, because it's just you and me right now. Story, we don't have people talking over each other like we normally do on the show. But hey, shout out to all of you in the Twitch chat right now, tuning in to watch the show live. I was actually kind of worried going in that I was like, no one's going to watch the show tonight, because it's like we're so close. Maybe they were worried that there would be spoilers, and they're like, you know what? I'm not tuning in. I'm not listening. I don't want to hear them talk about God knows what. But look at these numbers. Big, impressive. Thanks for being here with us during the live show. It's really cool.
Absolutely.
What do you want to talk about? Yeah, stick around.
Both of us played the PC beta. I'm anxious to talk to you about PC beta, because I know this was your first major experience, like playing a game that you really love on PC. So I want to know all about what you were up to and how you were feeling about it, because I saw your tweets that you were concerned about mouse and keyboard, but you've actually taken to this quite well, which I kind of knew you would. So
you told me.
You know.
Yeah, in the upcoming weeks to the PC beta, I probably mentioned it on the show like a couple times, where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get farmed. Like, I'm just not a mouse and keyboard. I've never really played on mouse and keyboard ever. Like, I've played games on my PC before, but they've been like jokey, whatever, who cares, throwaway, like not reflex based games. You know what I mean? I played like old school Age of Empires, badass game, by the way. I played Command and Conquer, Red Alert 2, awesome games. But I never played like a twitchy, quickly mover. I never had to worry about, calculating my DPI on the mouse or whatever, any of that pro shit. But yes, I was worried about it. I was like, I'm gonna do the PC beta, because I remember being at the reveal event in California. It was beautiful. I loved every minute of it. I was like, and I got this computer to make new content, and it's going to be pretty on this machine. So I was like, you know what, I'll do it, whatever. Who cares if I get farmed? And I loaded it up. Dude, it took me like...
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Link.
Yo, yeah,
Finally.
Sorry about that.
Don't worry.
Hey, hi, everybody. Welcome to the Planet Destiny podcast. Total podcast.
Link, are you recording? Are you recording your audio? He's recording. This guy's a professional.
The audio's cutting in and out, Link. Your audio's in and out for me.
Is it? Oh God.
Yeah.
Don't cut out that beautiful voice. No. Please.
I'm not going to do it to you. I promise I won't do it to you.
That's better.
Okay. That's better. Well, I was in the process, Link, of telling everybody about my experience with the PC beta. And long story short, it took me like an hour. I was kind of mapping all my keys out. I was like, yeah, I think it's more comfortable if this button goes there and that button goes there and whatever. I was like really trying to think, and I got these two side buttons on the mouse here. And it took me like an hour. It was playing the single player, and it was like feeling weird. And eventually I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to dive into the deep end. And I just went into PvP. And almost in no time, I just picked it up. I was locked in. And like Mega, if he's in the chat right now, he was like, dude, I thought you said you were like bad at mouse and keyboard. Like I was mopping people up, man. It just took me a little bit, especially to find the sensitivity.
Yep.
And I had some of my friends like they were like, oh yeah, we were talking to Dr. Lupo, who, if you don't know at home, you're messing up big time. He was playing, I think, on 800 DPI and then in-game sensitivity of 4. And I put that on, and you know what? Felt damned amazing. Yeah. No time at all. I was landing those hand cannon shots. I was just sliding in, giving that boom, the melee, the jumping over people, man. And it was so much fun.
Low sensitivities. This has been a thing for quite some time, and I think for me, it probably hasn't been spawned or like it didn't begin with Counter-Strike professionals. But when I got back on the PC wagon again for Battlefield 3. I made the mistake of having a really high sensitivity, and it's good for your turning speed. Like you can turn around on a dime 180 very quickly, but unfortunately, what will happen is your precision will go to shit when your sensitivity is really high. It doesn't mean to say that high sensitivities don't work for everybody. Like Poshy has a very high sensitivity when you watch him play, but he's still able to pull all kinds of, very precise shots off, but
he's a god.
Whether he'll stay like that forever or not, I'm not too sure. I'm confident that he may start lowering it as time goes on, because a lot of people do this. The more they lower their sensitivity and get a larger mouse mat, because obviously the lower the sensitivity, the bigger the movements on your hands and stuff, the bigger the mouse pad that you need to accommodate for it. Your precision goes up, you're missing shots less. And you will tend to deal with this being able to turn around, because a 180 spin is a huge move on your mouse pads when you have a very low sensitivity, and that's what puts people off. I played like a couple of weeks just going through single player campaigns on Crysis and Battlefield and stuff just to get used to this low sensitivity. Because I have a 400 DPI, I go old school Counter-Strike style, and a in-game sensitivity of 7 or something like that, so it's almost identical to 800 DPI sensitivity for, but yeah,
if you're listening at home and you don't know what the hell we're talking about, DPI stands for dots per inch something, dots per inch, which is like fancy talk. It's like basically sensitivity of your mouse. Okay, if you have really, really high sensitivity, you just move the mouse a tiny bit, and your clicker's like woo, like it just flies out of there.
Spin around.
And you'll see mice, I guess. Mices, a computer mouse for gaming purposes. So it's like, oh yeah, dude, it's got like 10,000 DPI or some shit like that. You're like, it's kind of rare to go that high. I don't know why they advertise for it, because almost everybody who I've ever talked to who's really big into PC gaming, no, I don't want it. They do. It's either one of two things: 400 DPI, 800 DPI. Yeah. Almost everybody I talk to, it's one of those two.
The what was I going to say? The DPI things, but we had a really good question, a PC game just right here. I'm gonna just fish it out.
Do it.
Lenane666, are you guys afraid that the PC community will alienate the console community? As an Xbox player, I sure as hell am. Number one, any member of a PC community that starts alienating console players, they're just dicks. They're not really a valuable member of any kind of community at all. There are plenty of PC gamers out there that don't try and alienate anyone. Unfortunately, there are people that will give the PC community a bad name by, with all this PC elitist bullshit and PC master race bullshit, they're a better gamer because they've spent $3,000 on a PC and they can use a mouse and keyboard and you can't, and blah blah. Just ignore those people. They've got something very wrong in their lives. They're very distraught, upset and miserable people. Just ignore them. Don't pay them any power, because there is no difference between a console gamer or a PC gamer apart from the platform that you use, and that does not define you as a person or define your value or skill.
Tell them.
That is what you do. And, you know, block them all out. Block them all out, because it's just bloody stupid.
Block them all out.
Yeah. And that comes from a so-called member of the PC Master Race. I'm not a member of that, but, like, I play PC because I like my mouse and keys and I like a wider field of view by default.
Yeah.
But I played Destiny for 3 years on console and made great friends, had a massively amazing experience that was completely new to the PC scene for me, and learnt a shitload as well. So yeah. Link,
did you get your hands deep in the dough of the PC beta? Did you get in there?
Oh boy, yeah. I wasn't just deep. I didn't just get my hands deep in that dough. I dove straight in, man. I was swimming around like Scrooge McDuck in the money bin, baby. Yeah, the Destiny 2 PC open beta was, of course, last week, and man, what an experience it was. It was my, of course, I think all of our first experience with Destiny on PC. And I really just, right off the bat, have to say, boy, did they knock it out of the park with this. I'm almost remiss to call it a PC port, because it doesn't feel like the standard Activision port. Yeah. You can tell that this was built from the ground up for the platform of PC. Vicarious Visions, who helped develop it on PC, deserves as many rounds of applause as you can afford to give them, because they did a fantastic job overall with this build. First things first, the optimization on Destiny 2 for PC is fantastic. It's running on such a wide spectrum of builds so well, it really kind of blew my mind. I was kind of going into this beta thinking I would overpower it, because I have a build that's a little bit on the higher end side of things, and I just figured I'd need that in order to run it just fine. But throughout the week, I streamed basically every day of the beta. I got to speak with people. I got to help people out with their builds and doing some optimization for the game. It's incredible, the variety of PC builds that this is going to run well on. I had people who were coming in on 3-year-old 950 Ti's running it at 60 FPS on high settings. I had people who were running it on laptops. As a matter of fact, one of our mods here on PD and a buddy of mine, Radiant Duke, he was playing with me and streaming with me from his laptop, getting 60 FPS, and they did a fantastic job overall with this build, and it's just an absolute joy to play. If you were wondering whether or not the frame rate increase, the jump from 30 FPS to 60 FPS made any sort of difference in Destiny, it makes it feel like an entirely different game. It's an entirely different experience, and it's so much better. So much better. It makes me shed a little bit of a tear for the fact that we will never get Destiny 1 on PC, because just imagining how that game would have played.
We're walking a fine line here. I mean, like, where it's like, we're all a family, okay? When we go to Guardian Con in 2018, we're going to be a family. You know, you're going to meet your friends again. If Link actually decides to go this time, that'll be wonderful. I mean, really long trip for him, all the way to Florida. Am I right?
Yeah, a whole 2-hour drive.
A whole 2-hour drive. But I don't think the community is gonna. I mean, we're sitting over here talking about how amazing the PC beta was, but it's not gonna drive we're not gonna separate the community. It's one community, and it's just great to have another way to play the game. You know what I mean? Because if you're just a person who likes the feel of a controller in your hand, then great. You're set, man, and you got good stuff going for you. I mean, the game comes out earlier on console, you're going to be way ahead. Yeah. And it's just fun for you. Like, if it's like you just, the controller feels good, man. And then, if you're part of the PC crew, you don't mind waiting, or you're going to play on console first, and you got that big, sexy machine that you built up, you're going to be taken care of too. Everyone's going to be taken care of.
That's a really good point for that, when you say that people who are playing on the console get a head start. Well, I noticed this when playing the PC beta, that people who played Destiny 1 on console had a wide understanding, especially when it came to PvP, of how the game works. Their game sense was considerably more deep than PC gamers. And when I was streaming, this was back before I started working, I was streaming a lot, and I was talking about playing on PC. I played Overwatch on PC, and there was a few folks that I've known from my PC gaming days that are going, "Oh, Story, you need to really practice, because it's a big difference going from playing against console players to PC players again. You're going to need to practice." And I'm like, I'm not worried about playing against PC veterans. I'm more worried about, playing against the console guys who know how to play Destiny, because they're the ones that are going to give you the challenge. And it was right, man. True. Like, there was it doesn't matter with an FPS game. It's got so many moving parts, and it's not the same. If you're an amazing Counter-Strike player, you're not going to just be able to pick up Destiny 2 on PC and be like totally amazing straight away, because it's not just about the gunplay. It's about your class abilities. And there was some of the PC guys that I follow that have been playing exclusively PC for years. They were like, "Oh, this needs balancing. This needs addressing. This is too overpowered." And I'm like, guys, you're playing against people that don't pick up heavy. They have no idea. They're not using their class abilities. They're not using their supers. They're playing the game like Counter-Strike. Calm down. I'm trying to balance the game right now, okay? Like, when you're playing up against top tier players that know how to play the game, talk about balance then, down the line. Right now, don't try and fix what isn't broken, So it's the people who played Destiny big time, like throughout the last 3 years, who are picking it up on PC and playing with controllers, mouse and keys, whatever. They were having a great time with it and doing pretty damn well. So,
and to build up on what you were saying there, first off, if you play Destiny on console, you're used to a controller. You can use a controller on the PC version of the game. It translates basically in a one-to-one fashion. It felt exactly like it did on like the game plays on console. For my streaming, for the first day, I played mouse and keyboard. For the second day, I played controller, and then for the third day on stream, I played with like a mixture of mouse and keyboard and controller. And I did that so that people could see what the experience was like between the both of them. I really didn't have any trouble, acclimating to mouse and keyboard and then jumping back and forth between controller in that. And you've got a real point when you're talking about the Crucible in particular. You could definitely tell there were a lot of players who were new to Destiny. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure we're going to get into some of the competitive arguments and whatnot that have been kind of going through the community right now. Talks of aim assist being a little bit too strong and all kinds of stuff like that. And we can touch on that later. But I did notice some people saying, "Oh man, those power weapons are way too strong, need to be nerfed and whatnot." And it's like, but you're not picking them up. Like, I had so many matches on stream where like nobody on the enemy team would pick up power weapons. I had people who were on enemy teams who would never use their super. As a matter of fact, I got a quick story for you. I was playing, and this might have been on Wednesday afternoon. I was playing in Control, and I was solo queuing. I was by myself. And I could tell that I had these people on my team who were probably really, really new to Destiny because they had no fundamental understanding of like the abilities, the movement, and any of that. They were just treating it like a shooter, which is fine. You can definitely get into it like that. But we got through the game, and it was a fairly close game. We got towards the end of it, about the last minute of the game, and like the enemy team was up by 5 points. And I noticed there were 3 people on my team who had their super. They had just never used it throughout the match. So I'm like, oh my God. They're waiting to use it now. This is going to be awesome. They're all going to push with super now. We're going to zip into the lead, and boom, we're going to be done. And 30 seconds go by. Nobody uses super. They're all just kind of running to B and getting blasted away. And I'm thinking they're going to wait till 15 seconds, and they're going to pop their super.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
But then I thought to myself, wait, you know what? Hold on. They're probably new. They probably have no idea about any of the nuances of Destiny. So I turned on my mic, and I was like, dudes, 3 of you have super. We have the 2 pivot points. We've got A and C. If you guys just pop your super and go kill, we win. About 5 seconds go by, and I'm thinking, did they not hear me? Suddenly, they all pop their super. They all go rush on B, and boom, done. We win by just a few points, and I'm like,
yep,
and
done. It
was really a moment to me where I had to sit back and say, oh, wow. Not everyone who's playing this open beta is someone like me who's been playing 3 years of Destiny nonstop, where I can jump into the beta on PC, know exactly how everything works, how to use my cooldowns, how to use my abilities, when to grab power ammo, which is always if you have the fusion rifle. And that definitely created a little bit of an imbalance there. And I think that's probably the source where at least some of the community complaints from the PC side are coming from. I've definitely noticed some of what you said. A lot of people saying, "Oh, well, these weapons are too OP. They need to be nerfed." And it's like, nah, not really. You just use power weapons.
You need
don't ignore
you need good primaries. They were like moaning about the hand cannons, and it's like, I loved the hand cannons because they felt very similar to how they did in Destiny Year 1. They were like effective at range and stuff like that. I think pulse rifles, maybe the nerf to them was a little bit extreme for PC because they couldn't really keep up with hand cannons at range, you know, and they were really strong on the console beta. But I loved all of that, and they're like, "Oh no, absolutely too powerful." And it's like, no, because when you're up against class abilities and good players and people that you're using supers and stuff like that, you need good primaries. This was a 3-year-long battle of getting primaries back up to being, you know, like eligible again. You know, so this is a good thing. But I mean, everyone passes feedback, everyone passes their own opinions on stuff. But I think Bungie really do need to be very careful of paying attention to the new guys that are coming in, the guys and gals that are coming in from a PC only perspective that have never played Destiny 1 and talking about balance at this early stage without everything being in the game.
A little early.
Like leave that alone for a while, you know, let them get used to it. When you've got guys spawning in, running straight over to the power ammo thing and waiting there for like 2 minutes, pressing buttons, trying to get power ammo that hasn't spawned yet. And then when it does spawn, they ignore it. Yeah, like how many games did I have like 2 full like clips of fusion rifle ammo to completely, you know, wreak havoc with because no one was picking it up, you know. But you know, you live and learn. You live and learn, don't you?
Exactly, of course. Do we want to talk about the aim assist thing going on right now?
I think
Rip the Band-Aid off.
I think so.
Rip it off.
Why not take that hot?
And then the hottest takes around. Okay, so I might get a little bit of the information wrong here, but let's talk about it. All right? Okay, I'm gonna talk to the people listening at home like you have no idea what we're talking about right now. Okay, so you play on PC, you play with mouse and keyboard, and you know what's interesting about that? There's no aim assist, right?
No, there is. There's a little. There's
like a minimal, like a super
just
tiny,
a wee bit. That'll
a wee bit. Unlike when you play on console, and there's a great deal of aim assist. Because if you play with a controller and there's minimal to no aim assist, then you're gonna have a bad time. So that's the difference between the two. Now, if you want, you can take a controller and you can plug it right into your PC, and you can play Destiny 2, either the beta or the final game, with a controller on your PC. Now, if you were to tell any regular PC player that, hey, I intend to play on the PC with a controller, they're going to go, okay, good luck with that, buddy.
What do you mean?
Because you're probably going to get wrecked. But in the land of Destiny 2, apparently, when you plug your controller in to the PC, you get a great noticeable deal of aim assist, which is different and new, and it has a lot of people talking and a lot of people upset because the whole conversation becomes, well, is that balanced competition, or is that right? Is it something that you should do? Allow controller people to have a noticeable amount of aim assist on the PC platform when the PC traditionally has minimal to no aim assist for people playing there. That's the situation right now.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
It's worth mentioning as well that when you're playing with controllers on the PC, sometimes you need to have some kind of third-party apps. There's one called DS4 for Windows, which enables you to use a PlayStation controller for all kinds of Microsoft games. However, you don't need bugger all for Destiny 2 on PC. It's all self-contained. And I would hazard a guess that any console controller works in precisely the same way that it will do with Destiny 2 on console. Exactly the same amount of aim assist. It's going to have the same software behind it, so it should feel no different. The only major difference is your customization for the controller. You'll be able to completely customize it without any additional software. So yeah.
Oh, and I've heard, and someone just mentioned it in the chat. There's something called you don't know what this is at home, it's called a Zim 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is some kind of device that allows you to, what is it? Isn't that what Lupo used to use to play?
Yeah,
it's a translator between mouse and keyboard and controller.
Yeah.
And I've heard that what you can do is you can use a Zim 4 to plug into your PC, and you can get the console level aim assist on your mouse and keyboard. That's what I've heard. So that's like combining the absolute toppest, best advantages of both worlds, which I think that's what also a lot of people are worried about, because giving console level aim assist to a mouse and keyboard sounds really dangerous.
Well, here's the thing. I've used a Zim for nearly 3 years. I got my Zim on, I think it was February 2015. And I started using one because I have an injury in my left hand. So playing controller for a long periods of time is very difficult and awkward and uncomfortable for me. So that's why I went and got a Zim. And being long-term PC gamer before that point, the first thing that I noticed when using a Zim is it does not feel anywhere near or close to the same as it does on PC. It's not native. You don't have what's called direct input capability. There are, because it's a translator and it goes through like all the controls of a controller, you have all the acceleration and smoothing as well as the in-game aim assist. And here's Mega joining us right now. But here's the deal with Zims and using them for, in this case for PC. You get the benefit of using your mouse and your keys through the controller system, but you have all the same disadvantages and advantages of the aim assist that a controller has. Some people view this as a benefit. Me personally, it doesn't benefit me. It hinders my play. I don't like it. I don't like having smoothing, acceleration, and aim assist on mouse and keys. It negatively impacts my experience, and that's why I was very frustrated playing mouse and keys on console, because of all of this stuff with Destiny. Like, it's got huge acceleration, it's got huge aim assist, but some people view this as like a very strong advantage to the point of it being cheating.
Right.
Yeah. That's the crux of the issue, because there's no differentiation when you put like a controller into a PC and use your mouse and keys on a Zim. The game can't tell because it's all a USB peripheral.
It thinks it's a controller.
Yeah.
So there's some hoo-ha about that. We had the same problem with Overwatch.
Some hoo-ha.
Yeah, you know, like Overwatch had the same problem. Massive community feedback. And the devs actually took it out. They took out the
they took it out.
Yeah,
they took it out.
That's not going to happen.
Yes.
That's not going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen with Destiny.
No, because
you don't think that's going to happen?
No
Why?
way.
I'm curious to hear.
Number one,
tell me, my friend.
Overwatch is a competitive game, a platform where there are huge tournaments. Like, there's a lot on the line. So, like, having this competitive streak in there is incredibly important. Destiny is not. Bungie do not want Destiny to be a competitive tournament style game, and I don't think they're going to be taking away the aim assist, because look at the controller support.
I think another thing is that Overwatch started solely as a computer game. Like, it didn't have an established time as a console game as well. Like, Destiny is a console game first, now it's console and PC, so taking it away. What's he pointing at?
The focus on PvE in Destiny. Overwatch doesn't really have a PvE mode. It's all competitive stuff. And I mean, there's the fighting against AI bots and whatnot in Overwatch, but they're fundamentally different games, and I don't think Bungie is going to. I'd be surprised if they were to take out aim assist. And to just clarify a couple of things for people, it's not so much that the balance between controllers and mouse and keyboard was a problem. This was literally something that was a main issue with Zim 4 users being able to get that extra aim assist while using mouse and keyboard. I saw some people complaining that no, controllers are too strong, and it's like, no, they kind of weren't really. The only real actual unfair issue does seem to be the issue with the Zim 4s, because of course that does emulate a controller, like you're saying, and it translates to mouse and keyboard with that extra aim assist, which does get a little aim body when it comes to stuff like the hand cannon in particular. I got to see some gameplay up with a Zim 4. It's a little bit interesting because, of course, with a Zim 4 in particular, it gives you about the same amount of aim assist you'd have on console, but it feels so much worse on console because of the direct input, and apparently it's a bit smoother on PC. So
I didn't try
don't know
it.
exactly.
I have my Zim. I was going to try it, but then I just couldn't be asked with it because I thought I played
Yeah.
2.5 years with a Zim on console, and I can't say that I really enjoyed having to deal with aim assist on a mouse. You know, like it fucked me more than it benefited me. And thing is, it screws with your muscle memory. Like coming back to PC games again, my aim was way off, and it took me a while to like get back to the standard. And then when I got back to playing on console, it's not like I found it easier. I was just struggling and fighting with smoothing and aim assist. So do I want to use a Zim on PC to get extra aim assist on my mouse? Hell no! I want my direct input, and I really don't see.
Yeah,
how
it's a
anyone
much
is
smoother
gonna,
experience.
Yeah,
I've wondered how that's going to affect people like you who use a Zim on console if you're playing both console and PC at all in
Here's the
Destiny
thing.
2. If you have to swap back and forth, that sounds like a nightmare.
I'm gonna play I'm gonna play strictly controller with my PlayStation now for the release. I might not be able to play
There we go.
as long hours as I did, but I've already explained that I'm not going to be working the amount of hours that I worked last year because I have to maintain my day job. So I can't work through the night. So I'm going to be able to manage playing with a controller without my hand exploding. So I'm going to... Console's going to be
If it starts to hurt,
controller.
you'll just swap on over to the PC.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, all right, we're
yeah.
done with this.
But it's like, was it 6 weeks, 7 weeks of playing on the console before the PC to fatten up the old characters on the PlayStation? But yeah, strictly controller for me for now on.
By the way, I was really hoping it was a missed opportunity there, Story. Mega, you brought him onto the call, and I wasn't even paying attention. It would have been great if you just didn't tell us that Mega was coming on the call, and then all of a sudden in between, he was like, "Yeah, well, you know what I think." Like, what the fuck was that? Where'd you come from? But
he's right there. You're looking very healthy, Mega. You're looking very
thank you.
sparkly in the eyes and stuff like that.
I
Glowing,
feel great.
as they would say.
I literally just got done filming some stuff for
oh god,
some video crap, just watching you guys
great.
while filming, and then I was just like, all right, I'm hopping on. I don't care. Let's do this. I'm getting in there.
Let's do it, man.
And some asshole is shooting off fireworks. It's September 3rd at 11 at night, and there's some guy shooting off fireworks.
It's never too early to be patriotic.
You're right. You know
Get
what?
out
You're
there.
right.
you tweeted that like an hour
Dude,
ago.
all
You still
day.
doing it?
All day. He's
Yeah.
just shooting random fireworks. It's
This dude
ridiculous.
parties hard.
Yeah,
Parties
I
hard.
can't even
But,
fathom. All right,
do you want to
yeah.
hear something interesting? I'll tell you something interesting because you want to know.
So ready.
You're so fucking funny. So I was reading all the tweets and all the conversations about people saying like, "Oh man, dude, controller and PC, like it's unfair. It's unfair, I tell you." And I was like, "Wow, okay, it's like I'm a controller guy. Like I only became mouse and keyboard today for the beta. So it's like, you know, I'll plug it in." So I plugged it in, and this was after like a full day of playing mouse and keyboard. I think this was day 2 of the beta. And I played like one game with controller. I was like, fuck this shit. I went instantly back to mouse and keyboard. I don't know what it was. Like I got hooked on the drug. It felt so smooth and like, you know, like Story, like you said, the ability to just 180 around or just like, it just felt so smooth. And like I put in, like I felt the aim assist when I was shooting the hand cannon, sure. But it, like all the other times, like the movement and the looking around, it felt weird. I was like, nope. Yeah.
Yep.
Back to mouse and keyboard we go.
It's definitely something special when you get your hands on mouse and keyboard and you really get a feel for it. Being able to, like Story said, pull those 180 shots and then immediately lock to somebody's face and be like, boom, 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 you're done. It's a much smoother experience.
I think that the biggest the biggest difference is that when you go from wrist aim to arm aim with the large DPIs, your muscle memory, this is why it's so important to have mouse settings correct. There's like sometimes like Windows will give like an acceleration, or there is actually a option to have acceleration on a mouse, and you need to check, like once Destiny 2 is fully released, I'm hoping we get a performance graph so we can check our input lag and all the messages and bits of stuff that we're going to have to be paying attention to. But there's also in-game smoothing, acceleration and all that. You have to make sure that's disabled. Some games wig out and you'll have like acceleration on it anyway, but there are a bunch of different tricks. I think the Mark C plus Windows fix or something like that will monitor if there is any acceleration, because muscle memory is so important, especially when you start using your arm to aim as opposed to your wrist, because arm aim enables incredibly precise aim, and it's like it's a big movement, man. It's like playing fucking ping pong or some stuff, you know. Like your arm is getting a workout from it, you know.
Well,
so
yeah, it's true. I mean, my brother, I hopped on PC and I was playing PUBG with my brother, like way back when I began playing PUBG, and I was like, man, this is fun, but like my wrist really hurts. My brother's like, you're not moving your arm enough, man. It's like all these PC. It's like a big thing in the PC gaming community. That's why people have these gigantic mouse pads that literally cover the entire desk. Is a freaking mouse pad. Look at that thing.
Yep.
Is that your welcome mat? Did you just
dude.
Look at the state of it, though. I'm getting a new one.
Oh my gosh, it's covered in some junk there. You know, Story just took down his shower curtain, and boom, it's a mouse pad.
It's 4 years old. That's like just sweat and stuff, and you can't clean it off there anymore. I'm due for a new one, but that's a 40 centimeter by 30 centimeter mouse pad.
Yeah, that's massive.
Can I have that when you're done with it, Story? I'm working on my Story clone. I'm going to need that DNA, so just send me that mouse pad.
I can send you a guitar instead. That might be nicer because you can clone me from my guitars instead.
That'll be a sweet, sultry, sensitive Story if I get it from the guitar. That's how cloning works. It's where you get the cells from what activity they were doing. That's a fact, guys. Yeah.
Matches their state of mind.
See, he's clever. He's clever, that Megger, isn't he?
Hey, there I am. I played one game of keyboard and mouse on my laptop at 25 frames per second.
The cinematic experience.
Yeah. At 720p on low settings, windowed mode, and I got a solid 5 kills, so you know I'm pretty much a god at D2, people. Even that, you know, I'll take that mouse and keyboard. I was watching everyone play, and I wanted to play so badly, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I bet I can get it running on my laptop if I try, and lo and behold, I did. It was not as beautiful as all the streams I was watching, but it was still fun. Damn it, I still had fun.
It was superbly optimized, though. The fact that it was actually playing on some of these bizarre setups and stuff is a very good thing indeed. It means good things. But that's like Overwatch. You can play Overwatch on a, you know...
On anything, yeah.
On a baked bean tin. You know, it's so well done.
Plug your USB into a Yukon Gold potato. Good to go.
There you go. There was some misconceptions, though, from the newcomers to the scene about frames per second and how what you want. Like, there was... Just looking through Twitter conversations and comments on YouTube's in particular, if you're up against a player, if you're playing Destiny 2 PC and you're up against a player that's got like 200 FPS and you're playing with like 40 or 60 or something like that, they have a massive advantage over you. Not just because of the extra frames that they're seeing, but because at the lower frame rates you have more input lag. And input lag, as I've said in the video that I did for PD a couple of days ago, is a bane of FPS players' existences. And there are so many factors. I'm not going to claim I'm a PC expert when it comes down to minimizing your input lag. But like, for example, your monitor's refresh rate, your frames per second, whether VSync is enabled or not will affect it. What programs you have on your computer could possibly affect it as well.
If it's raining out.
This is another one as well that people are going to get a bit angry about as well. Windowed borderless mode causes input lag. No pro that plays the game like Overwatch, for example, that plays it for money will have borderless window mode on, which is the best mode for streaming, and currently one of the best modes because of the anti-cheat stuff that Destiny 2 is going to have. So you're going to have to, if you want to stream D2, you're probably going to have to invest in a like a streaming PC and learn the projector method of streaming the game.
That's some fucking bullshit.
Yeah, otherwise you're going to lose it. Look, basically, input lag, if you don't know how that feels, when you've got input lag, the first thing that you'll notice is that you're losing gunfights an awful lot. Like, first you might think, maybe it's my aim, maybe I'm off, maybe I'm not feeling 100%. And then it's like, no, definitely I'm feeling fine, my aim is great, but I'm still losing gunfights. That's a good sign to look into input lag and trying to reduce it.
It'll feel like you're playing on console.
No, because everyone has the same input lag on console, so it's all fine.
Oh, there we go.
Yes.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. There were a couple of issues technically with the Destiny 2 PC beta. If I had one real complaint to levy towards Bungie, it really is the fact that their anti-cheat system does not let you game hook for live streaming. Because if you want to do any sort of interactive live streaming, you basically have to use their borderless windowed mode, which is windowed full screen, which has a performance hit. It knocks down your frame rate by just a bit. As Story said, it has an input lag hit, especially if you've got VSync turned on. That's kind of like a double hit for you. And it makes things a little bit frustrating to kind of stream the game because you basically have to stream monitor capture or projector capture or something like that, rather than just letting OBS hook into the game, unless you're using Shadowplay. If you're using Shadowplay, which is the NVIDIA proprietary streaming and capturing software, that works just fine. But if you're using something like OBS, so you can have your overlays, your stream alerts, and all that kinds of stuff on there, it was definitely a little bit frustrating to kind of set all of that up and stream with it. Thankfully, it doesn't hit performance too much, but it is noticeable.
Yeah,
it is there.
I couldn't. If you want to, like, for example, if you're doing trials carries, that stuff is going to really screw you so hard, A
little bit, yeah.
VSync as well. Like, there was a lot of comments on YouTube videos about VSync, and oh my god, you're a noob if you've got VSync on. No, you're misunderstanding VSync. VSync is actually it can be very beneficial depending on the kind of rig that you have, but it's largely speaking, it causes input lag for the majority of people. However, there are games, for me, in Overwatch, if I enable VSync, my input lag goes from 12 ms to 8 ms. It's reduced by a whole 0.4 milliseconds or whatever. So don't just be a sheep. Look into these things yourself, and don't 100% take advice given by, because I saw some very bad advice from people in comment
YouTubers.
Yeah. So look into this stuff yourself and try things out, and definitely take it on board yourself rather than just.
I'm gonna see if I can use the Husky Raid cache to trick people into using bad settings to give myself an advantage. Nice. I'm just gonna pick the worst things to turn on and off. You're definitely gonna be running this thing in Windows borderless mode. It's the only way to play, guys. All right, I think it's a great idea for me.
We're gonna do a little sabotage here, Megan.
Yeah.
But,
sabotage, just like the D2 live action trailer. Damn.
It's all connected.
Wrap it in
right there.
Somebody in the chat said, I'll call him out. Avid Gladiator with a shout out there. He said, "This is why I prefer console. You don't have to worry about this."
Yes.
But actually, you, to a degree, you do. If you play on a bad television, or
that's true.
What I mean? You'll get some input lag. I don't play on TVs anymore. I play on
gaming monitors.
It's beautiful.
There's a definite difference between like a 1 millisecond response time gaming monitor and just your standard HD TV. There's a definite difference there.
But there are TVs that they have like a gaming mode that reduces the refresh rates and stuff like that, so that it is very possible. There is the possibility that a console player can experience the frustrations, the joy of input lag by losing gunfights that they should be winning. Yeah.
Yeah, it's noticeable. It wasn't bad on my old TV. I got a monitor. It's a little bit better, but I played on a friend's TV. It was so noticeable. It felt like I was hitting things, and then like a second later, I was turning. I was like, what the hell's happening right now playing this game? It was oof. If you got a bad TV, I feel sorry for you.
That's when I went over to my friend's house in New Jersey one time to play Halo. He's like, "Yeah, come over, we'll play. It'll be awesome." And, we've been playing Halo for years, and like I was always way ahead of him. And like we turn it on, and we're playing. I'm like, Jesus Christ, with this, like,
what's going on?
How long have you been playing on this? He's like, well, I don't know. It's good. It's like a brand new TV. I got it like 3 months ago. It's like, well, no wonder you're fucking terrible. Like, it's like you hit the trigger, and then 3 seconds later you shoot the gun. Yeah. Awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah. Don't play Destiny 2 on a CRT. Don't do that.
Hey, whoa, CRTs.
Well,
CRTs are better than.
Yeah, they're the best.
Get that shit out of here, all right?
That's why they play Smash Bros. Melee tournaments on CRTs.
Don't do it unless you're playing Melee. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Unless you're playing.
There was some other stuff that I wanted to talk about the PC beta that was, but I can't fucking remember it. It was
how fucking
I should have
fresh,
written,
buttery it
man.
was. That
I don't know what you guys have talked about because I was half listening earlier, so I can't.
Dung blade being dungier. That was it now. Because what was this? Because number one, right, you got a field of view slider for Destiny 2 PC beta, and I put it straight up to 105, which felt like an 85, 90.
Your character's like this big on the screen.
No,
Do that. I love it.
I love it. There's like a different way that you measure the degrees. They've done it the same way that Overwatch does it. So 105 for me would be like an 80, 85 in however DICE deal with their measurements for field of view. So it's not too wide. However, when you go to third person, it's like
you can see everything. It's beautiful.
I felt so deadly with the Dawn Blade. It was just a game changer, total game changer.
Can I just real quick talk about that field of view? When we have swords in the game for third person, can you imagine somebody like Cammy corner peeking with those swords when he's going to be able to see like see the whole map like everywhere around?
Yeah. But here's the thing as well with field of view. The wider that you have your field of view, when you sprint forwards or move forwards, you'll have the appearance of you moving faster. You don't move any faster physically, but there is an appearance because everything's smaller further away. It's like a whole wide angle kind of thing, like a trickery. But I don't know, man. Like I tried a whole bunch of different field of views, and I felt on PC the movement was quicker forwards. A forward movement and sprinting speed felt way quicker than it did for the PC version on the console version. So I don't know whether you guys noticed that as well. Strafing was the same. Felt still as restrictive and as underwater, but moving forwards, I was zipping around that as a warlock as well.
Yeah, it was a little bit faster. Yeah.
So, but yeah,
there were a couple of changes within the PC beta that I thought made it feel really, really good. And if you guys got a chance to play around with it, you can certainly talk about it too. But from right off the bat, what I noticed, weapons were stronger. You dealt more damage to enemies. It didn't take 15 minutes to kill the final boss in that strike, which was nice. Grenades hit way harder. They had way more of a pronounced effect. You could get your super back more than once a strike. There was a couple of times on stream where I was getting like super chains with my fire team, just getting 4 or 5 supers in a row, just getting those things right back, which definitely felt really good. I hope that translates over to the full game because it was a much smoother, much better playing experience in PvE. And of course, power ammo. That was dropping. I love
that change
everywhere.
So much. I think it's such a smart change to make it like you know how to get it, and it makes you prioritize targets to get it. Any yellow bar enemy you kill is going to drop it. So now it's like, I don't have power ammo. I got to focus fire this guy so I can get power ammo, clear out everybody else. I like that. I like it so much more than D1 system, even of just like, I hope some drops if I have the right armor on. Like it dropped plentifully in D1, but it was random. I love knowing what's going to make it happen now. I think that's a smart. Just they know what they're doing. These guys sometimes. Sometimes I think they might know how to make a game.
They might be all right. Yeah. It was nice to actually be able to use a power weapon. That felt nice. Felt good to use a rocket.
I didn't get a rocket launcher. The drops were pretty stingy, in all honesty, compared to the console one. Yeah, when I played for the full day on console, I got pretty much all of the Crucible weapons and a full set of armor, Crucible armor. It took many days of pretty much the whole period of the PC beta just to get a full set of armor, and I still didn't get the Phosphorus MG submachine gun. I didn't get the rocket launcher. Didn't get the shotgun. Because I think I exclusively played on Warlock, so the drops were like heavily reduced compared to the console version. But I had positive things to say about matchmaking for once. For once. There was obvious, whether you want to call it manipulation to make sure that everyone wins as much as they lose kind of thing. There was very obvious a system in place, but it wasn't as bad. Number one, you got the regions. I mean, we only had US and EU, and US wasn't available for the first, was it 12 hours or 24 hours? All the US players had to play EU servers for a while.
For a little while, yeah.
But there was no Asian ones as well. So EU was pretty laggy at times because we had so many players from all over the globe on there. In fact, EU is probably going to be the most unstable because you got Australia and Japan and everywhere else joining. So I might play on US ones and fuck my
Attaboy.
ping instead.
Fuck the ping.
Because EU's going to be like a soup of intercontinental, intergalactic mess. But there was some lag on there. If you haven't watched the video that I've done for PD already, go and watch it, because a follower, a YouTube guy that I've been following for a long time, Battle Nonsense, did an amazing video on the Destiny 2 PC beta network system and how it works. And oh my god, it's very different to what you'd expect. 40 hertz between players, variable hertz rates. There are dedicated servers, Bungie servers, where information is going back and forth. It's not from player to player. It's still very much peer-to-peer. So, unfortunately, IP addresses are going to be shown. We're still at risk of DDoS, unfortunately. The hertz rate is pretty high, though, considering we were expecting 10 or 30 or whatever. So, and then here's the thing that really fucks me up. Ministry of Defense, there's a server at the Ministry of Defense that's sending and receiving data from our PvP
From
games.
Destiny?
Yes, he discovered all of this. We have no idea why. Tinfoil hats on. Let's talk about why. Maybe it's like the last Starfighter. They're tracking our games because they want to recruit us to
the
fight
best
intergalactic wars.
Oh my god, guys! The cabal are
Hashtag
real.
the traveler is
It's
real.
happening.
Oh my god.
But if you want to watch that video, check out the PD video. It's called the PC Beta, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or whatever. Or you can hop on over to my channel. I just called it PC. I like it. I like it. There's a link in the description to Battle Nonsense video. Go and check that out. It's very, very interesting. Go and follow that guy. But there you go. That's what I want to say. Yes. Someone saying it's not sending and receiving data. It just pinged once because it uses the same port number and then nothing else happened. I think Rainbow works for the Ministry of Defense. He's trying to cover up the conspiracy.
That's what they want you to think.
Look,
I want to believe I'm being recruited
Don't
for.
listen to him, man.
I'm being recruited to fight the galactic
story. If they're recruiting people, it's not going to be any of us. All right, let's be
Fallout's got a
honest
chance.
with ourselves.
Yeah, you're right.
Fallout, you know what? Fallout.
What?
I did see Fallout get 3 supers in one game of PvP. So man does have a chance at fucking getting. That's all I'm saying.
Top
Waiting
1%.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was hilarious business, I think. But yeah, there we go.
Are we about ready for a couple cues before we
give
tie
them
things
the
up?
A's? Give us the cues.
Give us the cues. I give you the A's.
Give you the A's.
I like it. This is a really short podcast. Feels like it flew by for me. I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
Neither was I.
Kevin's asking us, do you think range or damage fall off needs to be different from between PC and console? I'm not too sure whether the range or damage drop off needs to be different. Like, obviously there's going to be different things, but like hand cannons on PC, the range was like you could 3-tap someone cross map more or less, like you could in year 1.
Yeah, it was year
with
1.
a hand cannon. I couldn't do that
Because a lot
on
of the
console.
maps are smaller.
Yeah.
It seems
That's
like
true.
because they're 4v4 maps instead of 6v6, so they're all designed to be pretty small. So I mean, you'd
by
have
the
to
way-
make the range off pretty severe to affect it.
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys talked about it before I got in here. Did we talk about Javelin 4?
The map, no, we didn't.
No.
I love that map.
It's
I
good.
love
really
it.
It is a
good.
good map. It's
Yeah.
very competitively stable and balanced, isn't it? Yes.
There's just flank routes everywhere. 70% of the map is flank routes, and I love it. It's beautiful. It's great. That's all I had to say about it. I like Javelin 4. It's a cool map.
I'm right
like
there
it.
with you, buddy. Right there with you.
The explosive rounds, Rainbow, you're right there. Explosive rounds on the Better Devil's hand cannon did make that particular
That's
hand
true.
cannon more effective at range. That's a good point, for sure. It made it more
Explosive
effective.
rounds of new meta. That's the meta, people.
Hip
Now
fire
you know.
was fucking
Loadies.
overpowered as hell on PC,
God.
wasn't it?
Dude, I've been saying that I wish that like the last word was in a PC version of Destiny, so you could see people just hip fire massacring
Well,
with that.
It's not
Nothing but
native to
headshots.
PC. It's just for the D2 PC beta, the hipfire had no inaccuracy.
It's really
at
good.
all. It
Yeah.
was like I watched a whole bunch of the Battlefield pros running around just murdering people cross map hipfire. And it was like, there's no point in ADS. There's
What
no
is
point.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the little bit that I played, like mostly because like I just stopped ADS and I was like, this is way easier to hit stuff. I feel like but it's fine.
ADSing is the DPS loss.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Here's a
like
good
it.
question from Trini. How much sleep do you guys think you'll get in your first couple days after D2?
Fat zero for sure. I'm taking naps. I'm taking naps all day Tuesday, so that right at midnight I'm fresh as a daisy and I can play as much as a human being possibly can. Yeah, we're gonna see.
Daisy Fresh Mega.
I'm gonna look and smell real bad by the end of Wednesday. Let me tell you. Yeah. All right, the wife is not gonna want to touch me. Ugh. And she doesn't anyway.
Battlechicken says, do you guys think there's much chance of traditional PC-only gamers new to Destiny 2 getting so initially owned by veteran guardians that have been playing the game for a long time that they declare the game trash and quit? I actually saw that on a few streams. Yeah, well, they got very angry. They was just saying that things are overpowered and the game's not very good, but they were not playing it the way that it's supposed to be played.
It was a fundamental misunderstanding.
Yeah, it was like that. It's like you don't know. This is not Counter-Strike. This is not Battlefield. It's not COD. It's a completely different kind of FPS. It's not nothing. It's not rocket science. COD? It's just there's a lot more dimensions to Destiny. It's not just about the gunfights. You know.
I could see things like that being a problem because I was in a Reddit thread, like a gaming Reddit thread, where it was people who PC gamers talking about the game, and all of the things they were saying were so like incorrect about Destiny that I was just like going crazy. I was like, you just don't know. You just haven't you haven't played it. You know what you're saying. You understand. It's just I think I'm gonna have to like stay away from posts for new players for a while because they don't know yet. They just haven't played enough to know. They don't know what to expect from the game.
I hope Bungie realized that though, because like obviously feedback is going to be flooding in, and it's like, well, you know, like don't take too much on from that perspective, because that will change. It's not that the people are stupid or they're not being dicks or anything. It's just that opinion that they have now will change if they stick with the game, you know.
Right.
Level Cap posted a video. Thermal Artist Level Cap, I know Level Cap is a big PC guy, many years, very large YouTuber. He did post a video on the aim assist for PC, and it is too high. I guarantee you aim assist on PC will be reduced because it
Story guaranteed it, so that means it won't happen. That's our track record.
It's going to be tweeted.
He just jinxed it.
Guaranteed, baby.
It was too high for PC for sure. It was like so. Yeah, I'd be very surprised if it wasn't untouched for the final PC release.
You guys already touched on the question of what you think of the raid releasing a week after launch, right? Was that earlier?
We did talk about that, yeah.
I personally, I'll say it for myself. I think it's okay. A week is. Yeah. I would have preferred it to be the weekend after. Like I'm fine with it being within like 10 days, let's say, but I wish it would have dropped on like Friday instead of dropping on Wednesday, something like that. Because all the raids have dropped really close, I feel like, to when the things like the experience.
Do you reckon the weekly reset day is Wednesdays then? Not Tuesdays anymore.
Nah.
Probably still going to be Tuesday.
If they make it Wednesday, I'm done. D2's dead to me. All right.
Pre-order.
Literally unplayable.
Yeah. Are you fucking kidding me? No. Throws off my whole week. All right. I base
fucking
Tuesday is my Monday. That's my beginning of my week right now.
That's when it all starts.
Can't handle it.
Garbage.
Ding dong. Well, I mean, we are at time, so.
Wait. Answer the question, cats or dogs, because that was kind of
dogs.
Dogs.
If it were a couple years ago, I would have said dogs, but I say cats now.
Because you have a cat.
I have both. I've had cats for years, and I have a dog as well. And I'm just like, you know what? I kind of like the one that I don't have to do anything to really take care of it more.
Yeah.
I think that's way less work.
The dichotomy
nice.
there.
Do it for the puppy people. Do it
alone.
For the puppies.
I am doing it for the puppies. Don't worry about that, though. Yeah, obviously.
All right. Story, are we shutting this puppy down?
Yeah, man, shut the pups down.
Well, shut the puppy down. All right, everybody. If you're here with us on Twitch for the live show, first of all, thank you. And second of all, don't go anywhere, because now is the time to give us suggestions in the chat on who you think we should raid, which is something you can join us for next time on the show if you tune in live. Oh man, computer's freaking out here. There we go. Remember, the PD podcast is every Sunday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific. And for us here at the PD podcast, I'm Fallout Plays. You can find me over at youtube.com/Fallout Plays. But but fuck YouTube. So find me really over at twitch.tv/FalloutPlays, #GetFalloutPartner. You can find Story at youtube.com/StoryMachine and twitch.tv/StoryMachine. Machine is spelled with a 4. Don't forget that. You can find Bones nowhere because he's not here. You can find Mega at youtube.com/HuskyRaid and twitch.tv/MegaMag, you can find Bones on Crucible Radio. For YouTube. You can find TBL at youtube.com/TheBlackLink. Our boy, TBL. Thank you for joining us. Love you all. Enjoy D2 so much. And we will have much to talk about next weekend. See you then.